first time I haven't been in the playoffs, man. So, I mean, for me, like I said, man, I just got to do what's best for me and my family, dog. If that's here, or if that's wherever the case may be, man, I'm finna open that door for myself, dog. I'm out, bro.
That Tyreek Hill wants to leave the Miami Dolphins, and it hasn't been really of a good year for Tyreek Hill and the Miami Dolphins. They have been struggling. They had high expectations coming to the season, especially them having one of the high-power offense. Tyreek Hill this offseason took a reconstruction of his deal, of his contract, increasing his guaranteed money, and then this year he hasn't been playing at this elite level. Coming off a career year in the 2023 to 2024 season, Tyreek Hill was one of the top receivers in the game, led the NFL in receiving yards, top of the league in touchdowns as well. To then this year, didn't even catch over K. To coming out on social media, on Snapchat, on Twitter, basically trashing the Dolphins, basically praising other teams, basically sitting there saying that he wants to leave the Miami Dolphins, that he is not happy. And the Miami Dolphins has just basically been a complete shit show this year. Their rushing unit is one of the worst in the league. Bottom 10 in the league. Rushing unit has been one of the worst in the league. And then Mike McDaniels this season hasn't been really doing a great job in adjusting his play calls. Teams have literally figured out the Miami Dolphins offense, played a lot of cover 2, a lot of cover 4, taking everything over the top as well and forcing teams to play underneath. And when you don't have the play action, things not working, and that can limit the big plays down the field, which Tyreek Hill has not gotten big plays. This man Tyreek Hill hasn't even catch over K this season. This man Tyreek Hill don't even have double-digit touchdowns this season. So he's been very frustrated. And on top of that, Tyreek Hill hasn't been playing to the standards that he's been playing. He's been dropping easy passes as well. There's times where he was not that explosive this season as he was last season. You can contribute that to play calling, lack of adjustment. But Tyreek Hill hasn't been that dominant as he was last season than he is this season as well. And we talking about a guy in Tyreek Hill is one of the premium wide receivers this year. You can probably sit there and say that Tyreek Hill has not been playing at a top 3 to top 5 level in the NFL. So Tyreek Hill, a guy that's one of the best wide receivers in the game, a guy that was on the top, winning championships with the Kansas City Chiefs, chose the bag instead of running the back with the Kansas City Chiefs, chose the bag to live in Miami, right? And he sat there and said that Tua Tagovailoa is just as good as Patrick Mahomes throwing the football, making all them claims, and then once he faced some adversity, he wants to leave the Miami Dolphins. Tyreek Hill is on a contract this season. Tyreek Hill has 3 years left on his deal. If he asks for a trade, the Miami Dolphins will have to trade him to a team that was willing to accept his contract and his money on his contract as well. But Tyreek Hill this season has just not been good, and it's been very frustrating. The Dolphins have not won games. They basically gave up the last couple of games as well. Their defense haven't been consistent. The offense haven't been flourishing. And then on top of that, with the inconsistencies with Tua not being there, having backup quarterbacks, not really giving Tyreek Hill the targets, and then Tyreek Hill just sitting there looking at guys like Jettis and Jamar Chase make noise in the league, playing with one of the premium quarterbacks in the league. He wants to be part of that. And one of the teams that are very interested in Tyreek Hill is the LA Chargers. The LA Chargers been rumored to have an interest in Tyreek Hill. And if you pair Justin Herbert with Tyreek Hill, I think that is a savior in Tyreek Hill's career right now. Tyreek Hill is a phenomenal deep threat, one of the best yak players we've seen in NFL history. One of the best playmakers we've seen in NFL history. And you pair one a quarterback like Justin Herbert, which Justin Herbert is dying and itching for a number 1 wide receiver. I mean, that would be explosive. And you in LA as well. But the question people got to ask is that, is Tyreek Hill mentality is all about quitting on teams when times get tough? Tyreek Hill basically quit on the Miami Dolphins. He didn't want to play in the game anymore, right? And can any teams trust Tyreek Hill going forward? That, hey, if you're going to quit on this team when times gets tough, why should we be involved with a guy like Tyreek Hill if he's going to quit on a team when time gets tough as well? But Tyreek Hill want to win. He wants to win. He forced his way out of Kansas City to chase the bag, and 3 years later, he's crying, basically sitting there saying he just doesn't want to play with the Miami Dolphins no more. So he just wants to be on a winning team. He wants to be one of the top players in the league. And doing that, you got to play one of the more premium quarterbacks. Tua Tagovailoa is not one of the premium quarterbacks in the league. So Tyreek Hill just basically wants to go. He wants to get out of Miami and he wants to go on another team.